Before I say anything about this video, I'll go ahead and preface it by saying that The Legend of Zelda is my favorite series of all time. It beats Sonic just by a hair only because Sega has released some pretty bad duds for Sonic. Sonic 06. The Legend of Zelda was created by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka and is exclusive to Nintendo. I absolutely cannot wait for Breath of the Wild 2 to release. Unless you have been living under a rock or have no concept of video games, chances are you are already familiar with the Legend of Zelda series, or at least you know of it. If you clicked on this video, then I'm going to assume you are a fan of Zelda. I was first introduced into the Zelda series with Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. I can't exactly remember when I got it. It was released in North America in 1993, so I had to have been at least 6 years old. I'm going to say I was around 8 or 9 years old when I finally got my hands on it. It was different from all the other games that I played, which were mainly platformers, fighting, or beat-em-up games. It forced me to use critical thinking considering the game was built around solving puzzles before advancing to the next chapter. I did beat it though, and when I did, I felt like I had made a huge accomplishment. Link's Awakening was not the first Zelda game though. The first game was released in February of 1986 on the NES, and it was appropriately named The Legend of Zelda. I'll be honest though, I have never played it because I thought it was outdated and it offered nothing to me. I am absolutely terrible for thinking like that. Since its debut, there have been many other main series Zelda games. About 26 of them if you include the HD remasters. The next game in the series that I played was the iconic Ocarina of Time. And we all know how revolutionary it was to 3D games. Okay, I think I'm starting to get off topic more than I need to. This video is about Twilight Princess. I'm the 90s Metal Gamer, and welcome to the 90s Metal Gamer channel. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but in my own opinion, I think The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is the best Zelda game in the entire series. It even tops Breath of the Wild in my library.
You need to leave!
Hear me out though. Breath of the Wild is absolutely amazing because it takes a different path from previous Zelda games, and Nintendo made it work to their advantage. On the other hand, Twilight Princess is the only Zelda game with a T rating. That says something about a Zelda game considering all the others have an E rating. That's only part of the reason why I love this game so much. It's dark. Not only with the presentation, but with the story as well. I will talk more about this later. Visually speaking, it is the most realistic looking Zelda game in the entire series. Instead of a cartoonish Link that we have had in previous titles, we get a Link that looks mature and all grown up. I remember getting this game for the GameCube in 2006 on its release date, and it was the end of the GameCube's life. So in my opinion, that was the perfect farewell for it. This game did not go without harsh critical reviews, mostly because you partially play as Wolf Link. I will talk more about this later in the review. And that is another reason why I love this game so much. The edginess of it. For this review, I played the HD remaster on the Wii U with the Wii U Pro controller. I absolutely hated this controller. I don't like it. It is not practical. I hated the controller, but I love the gameplay and I love the visuals. So there's that. Nintendo cleaned it up really well and it looks a lot prettier than its GameCube and Wii counterparts. So before I start to ramble on any further, please join me while I review Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess on the Wii U. No cheats or hacks were used while I was recording my gameplay, but for the sake of not recording 70 plus hours on my hard drive and taking up unnecessary space, my main focus was the primary story of this game, and less about the side missions. Alright, let's get this party started.
I want to see your tiny head.
As I mentioned previously, I was introduced to the Zelda series with Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. Since then, I have been hooked. I even went as far as getting a Hylian crest tattoo on my chest. I love it that much. I think it's safe to say that my grades in elementary school and high school were bad because of gaming and lack of supervision as I got older. The first time I played Twilight Princess, I was put off by the fact that you partially play as a wolf through the game. I initially thought it was absurd and stupid. Then I realized how much of a badass this wolf is. I will go more in depth about Wolf Link's skills and abilities later in this review. You're probably thinking the same thing I did about this game. Playing as a wolf? In a Zelda game? Nintendo must be out of their damn minds. Fast forward to 2022. Games have gotten more technical and far more advanced. Pretty much nothing is out of range for a game. I mean, you have Super Meat Boy, a game where you play as a slab of meat. Super Meat Boy was released in 2010 and is still going strong. I have played Twilight Princess many times since 2006, and I feel like it will never get old to me. If you like Ocarina of Time, then you will absolutely love this one. As obscure and out of the ordinary as this game is, it would always hold a special place in my heart. If you are familiar with the Zelda timeline, you would know that all games are not in order. According to the Hyrule Historia, Twilight Princess follows the Triumphant Hero timeline and takes place after Majora's Mask and when Link has grown up. The story starts out fairly slow for the first few hours by doing chores and helping out the village's locals with some minor tasks they need help with. It does pick up momentum though. You play as Link, a young adult who works on a ranch in Ordon Village in the Ordana province of Hyrule. His mentor, Russell, asks him to present a gift to the royal family of Hyrule in his stead. The next day, Link teaches the village children, Beth, Malo, and Talo, how to use a slingshot and sword. Talo spots a monkey and proceeds to chase it into Faron Woods. Link and rest of the children give chase. Link ventures deep into the woods and finds Talo and the monkey trapped in the cage surrounded by bokoblins. He defeats the creatures and frees them both. They head back to the village and Russell tells Link that he will depart for Hyrule the following day. The next day, Link finishes his goat herding duties with his horse, Epona, before he prepares to leave. However, his childhood friend, Ilia, discovers that Epona's leg is injured and then scolds Link for hurting her. She proceeds to take Epona to the Ordon Spring to heal her leg. Link follows her, and Colin tells her how Link saved Talo the day before. Ilia tells Link not to worry about his horse and asks him to promise her to come home safely. At that moment, Bulbins break through the gate of the spring and knock Link and Ilia and Colin unconscious. The beasts kidnap Ilia and Colin and leave Link unconscious in the spring. When Link regains consciousness, he finds Colin, Ilia, and Epona gone. He runs off into the forest to find them, but finds a large black wall blocking their path. As he approaches it, a large menacing black hand reaches out and pulls him through the wall into the darkness within. Link finds himself on the other side, being strangled by a shadow beast, the creature who pulled him through the wall. The Triforce symbol on Link's hand glows, forcing the beast to let go of him. A sharp pain runs through Link as he doubles over, transforming into a wolf before passing out. As Wolf Link, he is captured and held prisoner within the dungeons of Hyrule Castle, which is covered by twilight that is spread over Hyrule. In his prison cell, he encounters Midna, an imp with mysterious powers who aids him in the escape to explore the castle in his wolf form. As you progress through the game, you will eventually find out exactly who Midna is and why she's so important to the story. Spoiler alert! She's actually the Twilight Princess! You will also find out who's behind the twilight that has fallen unto Hyrule. Enter Zant, the self-proclaiming king of Twilight. Zant takes the Twilight Realm throne from Midna and casts her out into the world of light. Zant is merely a puppet though. The real antagonist is none other than, well, you can guess it from here, Ganondorf. On your quest to restore light and dark to their rightful place, you will traverse through forests, volcanoes, water, death, snow mountains, through the sky, and even through time. You will acquire a lot of cool equipment and collectibles that will aid you on your quest. The most unique piece of equipment is the spinner. This one is self-explanatory. Just take a look. Like any other Zelda game, you have pieces of hearts to collect to increase your heart containers. What annoys me the most about this is that you need 5 pieces in order to add another heart container to your health. It's supposed to be 4, like all other Zelda games. This is stupid. Like I mentioned in the introduction, I focused primarily on the main story. If I happen to come across some pieces of heart, hey, that's cool. I wasn't exactly looking for them, although I won't be mad at gaining some extra health. If I die, I die. There are 7 hidden skills that are taught to you by your fallen hero counterpart. Throughout the world, you will find howling stones. You transform into a wolf and you howl the notes properly. If successful, you will get a pin drop on your map of a white wolf. Find the white wolf in human form and your fallen hero counterpart will teach you a hidden skill. This wasn't necessary to finish this game, but the skills are pretty cool. My favorite one is the Mortal Draw. In comparison to the GameCube and Wii counterparts, this is absolutely beautiful. Although you can still tell that this was from a previous generation of consoles. Most Zelda games are known for being bright and colorful. Twilight Princess comes in from left field and gives you an overall dark feeling to the series, and I am here for it. Let's have a side-by-side comparison. On the left is the GameCube version, and on the right is the Wii U version. The facelift and fresh coat of paint is pretty obvious. I believe it's only a matter of time before we see it available on the Switch. Nintendo, if by the off chance you are watching this video, please make it happen. The dark presentation of this game ties in perfectly with this dark story. This is the most realistic version of any Zelda game out there, and in my opinion, I think Nintendo needs to go with this format a lot more often for the upcoming games in the Zelda series. Maybe even go as far as making an M-rated Zelda game. We all know this won't happen though, considering that it is in Nintendo's nature to project a family-friendly environment. I also feel like an M-rated Zelda game would be more like Dark Souls than anything else. I'm going to switch lanes here for a bit. I tried playing the Wind Waker and I couldn't get into the story and how it was presented. It was cel-shaded and seemed pretty lighthearted. A lot of people have told me, you just need to play through it. The story gets really dark. While I do believe all that, I just couldn't get into it because I felt like I wasn't playing a true Zelda game. It just didn't sit right with me. I have it on my Wii U as a digital copy, but I won't play it unless I force myself to play it. With that said, let me know if you guys want me to do a review on it. I will make an exception just this once for all my lovely subscribers. Okay, now that I have that off my chest, let's continue onward with Twilight Princess. Overall, I absolutely love the route that Nintendo decided to take with this one. It went off the beaten path without straying too far from its roots that ultimately makes a Zelda game. Alright, you already know what I'm about to do. Shameless plug time! If you like what you see, go ahead and drop a comment for the algorithm. Like, follow, comment, and share. I am a solo YouTuber, so any little help that I get will go a long way. I put a lot of hours of editing and overall work into these videos, so any amount of support that I get will go a long way. Thank you, and I love you. The controls and gameplay are quite simple. When you are playing as Link, you have on-screen buttons to remind you of what you have equipped for easy access. You even have an auto jump feature when approaching a ledge. When playing as Wolf Link, obviously you have no need for any of your equipment. You instead have your instincts. You'll be able to dig, sense apparitions and places you can dig, pick up smells, and use Midna as a means of approaching high platforms in certain areas of the world. What gave me the most trouble throughout the game was the controller itself, the Wii U Pro controller. It is perhaps the worst controller that Nintendo has ever designed. If I could have used a GameCube controller for the HD version, that would have been the most ideal way to play this game. In my own opinion, the GameCube controller is the superior controller, even more so than the current generation of consoles that we have. Fight me, I will die on this hill. About halfway through the game, you will have the ability to transform into Wolf Link at any time you please, except in front of other people, which confuses me because during a time when darkness is consuming light, nothing would be out of the ordinary. This convenient transformation is essential to the gameplay because it will allow you to reach areas in the world that you wouldn't be able to reach previously. In some areas, you need this ability because of the darkness that it encompasses, and also to finish some boss fights. On that note of boss fights, they're actually fairly simple, if you just think about it. Not even exaggerating. Each temple and dungeon has a special weapon in which you acquire. So if you use the weapon associated with its respective dungeon or temple boss, you will be successful. The funny thing about it is that the bosses are terrifyingly large, but relatively simple to beat. If you just think about it. I'm pretty sure you have caught on by now, but this game requires you to think. That's with any Zelda game though. Simply put 2 and 2 together and you have a solution. Since I have played this game many times, I really didn't have to put too much thought into it. I guess I have this weird ability to remember the solutions to puzzles of all the previous games I've played. You will also acquire the Master Sword about halfway through the game. The Master Sword is the legendary sword that has the ability to banish evil and darkness away forever. It's stronger than the Ordon Sword, the sword you get at the beginning of the game, and you can in one slice kill some enemies. The game really doesn't put too much emphasis on the sword though, which in my opinion is disrespectful to the Zelda series. It's the goddamn Master Sword! The sword that can banish evil with one slice! But I digress. Acquiring the sword is necessary for finishing the game. When you learn the Great Spin attack, killing enemies becomes much easier. In short, the controls are easy to learn and quick to master with both Link and Wolf Link. I'm sure there's a GameCube look-alike controller for the Wii U and I just haven't found it yet. The Wii U controller is complete trash. The music in this game is much like your typical Zelda game, but with some dark emphasis on it. It wouldn't be a proper Zelda game without some kind of orchestra or symphonic style music in it. I love everything about the music. While fighting enemies, you'll hear some suspenseful, engaging music, and when you're traversing the land, you'll hear music that's respective to the area that you're in. There are even areas where there's no music at all, which adds to a certain level of emphasis on your journey. While you're in Hyrule Castle, there's dark symphonic music. There's a lot of foreshadowing in Hyrule Castle since it's where you'll be fighting Ganondorf. While you're in Hyrule Field, there's mostly upbeat music, like it's emphasizing your journey. To sum it all up, the music immerses you in the game, and Nintendo did an outstanding job with matching the music to the area and dungeon you're in. I would not expect anything less from a Zelda game. I'm going to be completely honest here. I have a very strong bias toward this game, and it is due to the fact that this game was a part of my teenage years. I know that when I created this channel, I wanted the primary focus to be 90s games. But I'm starting to venture out in other things, and I want to include more games. And because of that I want this channel to grow. I'm venturing out into other things because I really want this channel to grow, and I cannot do it without your help. Anyway, I absolutely love this game, and I consider it to be the best Zelda game of the entire series and my all-time favorite game. Haters and naysayers will say otherwise, but I don't care about that. I said what I said, and I will die on this hill once again. I consider Zelda to be a part of my childhood, and it's what made me the gamer that I am today. I am by no means a professional gamer, but I love video games just as much as the next avid gamer. Twilight Princess was frowned upon by a small group of people, and it was because of the wolf transformation ability. But think about it though. You are a badass wolf with the Triforce power of courage. That's fucking dope. On that topic, it is the Triforce power of courage that ultimately saved Link from being killed by the darkness. It protected him. Twilight Princess has a certain level of nostalgia that'll always draw me back into it. And it's because of that nostalgia that draws me back into it that I give this game a beer score of 5 out of 5 beers. And before I end this video, I gotta do it. I just have to do it. Sonic 06. We don't like this game here. We don't like it. That's all the time we have for today, guys. So if you like what you see, go ahead and drop a like and a comment for the algorithm. I am a solo YouTuber, so any little support that I get will go a long way. Drop a comment. What game should I review next? I'll see you on the next video. I love y'all.